Hello everyone, welcome back to another Starships 2.0 tutorial. This time I'll be briefly mentioning weapons. I won't be discussing how they function in this video, however, as weapons have already been covered in the play tutorials. I will, however, discuss what you need to know to put them onto a ship. Starships 2.0 uses two different weapon sets. Tiny, small, medium, and large ships share the first weapon set, and huge and gargantuan ships share the second weapon set. To actually install a weapon onto your ship, you need to install a fixed hardpoint, which is a weapon modification. Every weapon you install gets its own fixed hardpoint. Each weapon and its corresponding fixed hardpoint must be assigned a firing arc. The 5 green cells in the weapons cluster on the shipyard sheet allow you to enter how many of a particular weapon have firing arcs in each direction. Weapons can face front, aft, to port, or to starboard. The center slot is for weapons with turret mountings. Turret mountings modify a fixed hardpoint such that the installed weapon can fire in any direction. The last type of mounting that's important to understand is the broadside mounting. This mounting can be a bit tricky to understand, but it's very useful for weapons that should be able to fire in multiple directions, but not in every direction like a turret can. For example, the octuple turbolaser turrets on the Imperial II class Star Destroyers can fire forwards, but also off to the port or starboard sides. The short version of how they work is you select two weapons in fixed hardpoints and give each of them a second firing arc, with the caveat being that the weapons must share a firing arc in the end. In the case of our Imperial II's octuple turbolaser turrets, we have 4 weapons that face the port side and 4 that face the starboard side. Now we can start using broadside mountings to give them new firing arcs in pairs by picking one weapon from each side to broadside together and giving each weapon a front-facing firing arc. The 2 weapons now share a firing arc, so the broadside mounting's conditions are met, and each weapon can now fire in its original facing or to the front of the Imperial II. Now, as for how we denote broadsides in the sheet, for one thing, we've got this notes cell down here, where we can write in like what actually happens, and then we also use this same letter notation. So the weapons that share a letter can fire in these arcs. So in the case of the Imperial II, I've put 2 assault turbolaser batteries down that can fire to the port side or to the front, and then I've got 2 more on the other side that can fire to the starboard side or to the front. I didn't give it all 8 assault turbolaser batteries, mostly just for balance reasons, because the Imperial II has a bunch of other weapons as well, not just these 8 octuple guns. One other thing you'll want to take note of is the max fire cell. This is dependent on your ship's size and strength modifier, and determines the maximum amount of weapons that can be fired on a ship's turn with a fire action. Lastly, when trying to make a ship accurate to the lore, try not to focus too much on getting the weapon names to be the same, in particular for huge and gargantuan designs. Instead, choose weapons that function the most like they do in the lore. For example, the Imperial II class Star Destroyer has 8 octuple turbolaser turrets. Starships 2.0 does not have octuple turbolasers, but it does have heavy turbolaser batteries and assault turbolaser batteries, both of which deal high damage and have a long firing range, so either could work for an Imperial II. Also, keep your ship's constitution score in mind. Some weapons have a constitution requirement, and if your ship doesn't meet it, all attacks made with those weapons will be made at disadvantage. If you're making a custom ship, however, go nuts and fit your ship with enough weapons to make a K-Wing blush. That's all for this one. I hope you found it helpful and informative, and I'll see you on the next one.